Existence, a question man constantly seeks to understand. We wonder how we came to be, and where did it all begin. Questions about a beginning include, who initiated a beginning? Or what initiated a beginning? Was there ever nothing? Why did it even begin? But what it really comes down to is, was there ever a beginning? My thought process begins with a Facebook status I posted. It was a quote from my favorite graphic novel. Perhaps nothing is made. There is, always has been, and always will be. The quote is from Dr. Manhattan. I know it is not an exact quote, but it is how I interpret it. What if this was true? What if there was no beginning to time? There was never nothing, and always has been something. It made sense in a strange way. So I turned to the two most popular beginning explanations. Those explanations being the Big Bang Theory and creation by higher beings. We'll start off with the Big Bang Theory. Before our universe, there were certain particles. These particles then constantly collided. The collisions then resulted in the Big Bang. This is what created our universe as we know it. Before we go any further, I do wish to say that I'm not telling scientists that they are wrong. These are highly respectable men and women, and I do not wish to take any of that away from them. Back to the particles. These particles raise many questions on how their existence came to be. There are two ways to see it. The first is that they have always been there. Nothing created them, they just always existed. Or something created the particles, which states a pre-existing force. Now the third way of seeing it is that the particles just appeared out of nothingness. This doesn't make sense on any level. Now for creation by higher beings. Let's say there is a higher being, and at some point in time, it decides to create the world we live in today. Surely then we have a solution. But what about the being? Where did they come from? What are their origins? Something must have created them. And something must have created the creator's creator. And something must have created that, and so on and so forth. The timeline could be infinite, and possibly is. Let's say the timeline does come down to an ultimate creator. Before them, there was nothing. This is the same situation as the particles before the Big Bang, so we must look at it in the same manner. Did it always exist? Or did it just randomly appear out of nowhere? Again, we have the same preposterous situation of something appearing from nothing. It would only make sense that it always existed. After looking at it, neither the Big Bang Theory or creation by higher beings have any justifiable beginning. A beginning is logically and physically impossible through both the Big Bang Theory and creation by higher beings. Let's think of it mathematically. Nothingness is 0, and we know 0 plus 0 equals 0. To suggest a beginning is implying that 0 plus 0 equals 1. This is impossible by every standard. Another example would be if you had an empty box. You leave the box alone in the room for an hour. Upon returning, you find a baseball in the box. You must assume one of two things. 1. The baseball appeared in the box out of nowhere. This claim is completely absurd and is physically impossible. 2. The baseball was placed in the box by someone else. This is a pre-existing force altering the environment. This is how we must look at our universe. Altered from something that is pre-existing, whether it was created or has always existed. I know that it is rather hard to imagine that there is no beginning, but it is also very hard to imagine complete nothingness. How sure am I about all of this? These are just ideas I have. I rather enjoy thinking about these kinds of things, and sharing these ideas with others too.